My next one is before Watchmen, Ozymandias and Crimson Corsair, and it starts off with Ozymandias, and like the one thing I could say about Ozymandias' story is it is like the art is beautiful. Here we can take a look together. The art is in this story.
Who did it?
Beautiful. The art is by
Is that the same person that's doing?
Jay Lee.
It looks like it's the same person who's doing Batman and Superman right now.
Maybe I'm not sure, but it's written by I think it's Wein and the artist is Jay Lee, and it's just beautiful, you know.
June Chung did the coloring. I love that.
It's really like a painting. Like that's what it feels like, you know. It's really really pretty art. I really like it.
It doesn't have bold lines either. It has nice thin lines that really define things.
Yeah, it's a lot more realistic. You know, it's really cool. I like it a lot. And you know, it's basically about Ozymandias, and it starts off in the final moments of regular Watchmen, and then it kind of just jumps back and starts at the beginning of his life, and it just basically, you know, just shows that, you know, like how he grew up, you know, what led to his worldview. You know, like he's very idealistic. He thinks himself is the gift of the world. He thinks that he should rule the world. Like, and it just goes through this kind of stuff. And actually, you mentioned that he shows up in
it's Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan's story. Dr. Manhattan shows up in Ozymandias' story.
They're very tied to each other. I want to say, you know, and even having, you know, just from the Watchmen series of graphic novels, they're very tied to each other because they are the smartest human beings on the planet, you know, to a certain extent.
Right.
You know, Ozymandias is the smartest human being, and then Dr. Manhattan is the smartest being.
Right. One thing that I will say that I always loved about Watchmen was just the way that it would tie in with the real world and presidents and things that happen in the world. Yeah. And this Ozymandias story does that as well. And so, like,
is there a political side of it?
Yes, there's a political side of it, obviously, because, you know, that's just kind of part of his story and who he is, and, like, you know, him playing with these power players and that kind of stuff. And it's really cool. I like it a lot. Moving on, you know, to the Crimson Corsair. It was another fun one. You know, same writer, Wein and John Higgins. Artist was John Higgins. Like, and the art in this played in with the story very, very well. Probably more so than the other ones I read, because it's very bold. It's very hyper realistic. I mean, this is obviously the Crimson Corsair was the comic book. So it's basically, this is the comic book. This is
it's a comic within a comic,
right? Yeah. Comic within a comic, and it goes from from this person who is not the Crimson Corsair to becoming the Crimson Corsair. And as his story gets darker, the art starts, like, the color starts going away. It becomes a lot more like bold, and a lot more hyper realistic, and just a lot more dark contrasting colors. And it really, like, as it continues like that according to, you know, what's going on in the story. It gives, you know, his real name is Gordon McLaughlin, and it's honestly just kind of just his journey into darkness, and the comic just gets darker as you go.
That's cool.
It's very pulpy, really campy, and I like it a lot.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
The last one is there was
it a one
shot of Dollar Bill, and it's a lot more cartoony. It's basically him telling his story, like, and it's not even just more cartoony in the art, but it's more cartoony in just the way that it portrays itself. It's more comic booky, and, you know, like, it's kind of it starts off and it's just kind of just happy, and the art's more happy, and I mean, it's interesting. It follows him, you know, until, you know, what happens to him, and what I thought was interesting is he starts off pretending to be a hero because he's basically a manufactured thing by a bank. A bank manufactures him to keep criminals away, and he moves from becoming a fake make believe hero to being a real hero.
That's awesome.
And it's really cool. And they do this within a really short span. I'm like, why do these other stories have to take so long sometimes?
Yeah.
And they did a really good job.
Good storytelling, you know, whenever there's good storytelling, you wonder sometimes how do stories, you know, spend issues and issues and not get anywhere.
Right.
Whereas this one got somewhere in 4 pages.
Exactly.
You know, it had a more of an emotional beat within 4 pages than, you know, others do in like 24 pages.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So
awesome.
that's that one. I really enjoyed that one as well.
Awesome.